It is 11:02. Let's get started. Start with bucket fills, you guys. It's the same thing every week, and I'm going to try to at least have 5 of them. So who's going to start?
Bucket fill, whoever helped out with Ignite on Monday, it was fun to get back in here and be with a room filled with people who are like-minded. So
That was definitely a group effort of like all 5 market centers, and it turned out really, really well. Especially for the first time, I think it's just going to go smoother from here. So yeah, that was really good, and it was awesome to see a whole room filled with people. Kind of, Maddie, you talked about that. It wasn't just new agents; there were some producing agents. You know, some that have been in the business for quite some time and kind of rebooting. So that's cool to see too. All right, what else? What else is good? You know, I will sit here until I at least get 4 more.
Pam Langen's P&L class was really good. Awesome. And
was really good last time too.
she's always really good. I got that really good thing.
Yeah, she's really organized. maybe that's the other part of it.
I was gonna say, I also have finally everything is coming together, and there will be a closing next Friday. Yay!
Hey,
Hallelujah. And I got the condo under contract.
nice.
For Jack Hamer Sons.
nice work.
I was gonna say thanks to Madeline and Chris. They've been super helpful the last month with showings for us. We do rental showings, and it's been a very busy time of year, so
There's a lot of those.
they've been a lot of help.
Awesome. Awesome.
Bethany, raise your hand.
Bethany.
I would love to bucket fill our operations team. We have a client appreciation party on Saturday, and we have 300 people scheduled to come.
For the photo shoot?
We have 170 adults and 125 kids coming.
Wow, that's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids, Bethany.
We're playing for no raise.
Did you give me another photographer too?
Yeah, so we have 7 photographers shooting now.
Guys, that's awesome. That is so awesome.
And the coolest thing is I honestly haven't done anything but call my database and text my database about it. Same with the other agents on our team, just because Heather especially has just taken the lead and rocked it out. So we're excited.
Super cool. Awesome, awesome. I want to hear what it was like next week too. Tell me all about those children.
It'll be good birth control.
Who else has something good? Bucket fill, anything.
I have one. Oh, that's echoing. I can hear myself somewhere else. I just wanted to bucket fill Katie. This is her last week with us. And as we all know, she is the best. And we are so lucky to have her. And I'm going to miss her so much. So I just wanted to bucket fill Katie.
I will bucket fill everyone. I came into this role like just shy of, well, like a year and 7 months ago. And I had never been in real estate before. This office has been amazing to work at. I think that there's been like so many incredible things that I've been able to glean and learn from all of y'all. And I'm going to take them with me, and I'm not going to be such a crazy workhorse person, and I'm going to be able to like enjoy my life a little bit more because of what I've been able to learn from being here. So thank you all, and thank you all for being so kind and generous people and being friendly and helpful to each other and making it easy for me to welcome in new agents because of how great you guys are. And huge thank you to Kimi, Lydia, Heather, Kevin. He was original with me. Wendy, she's the only reason I know how to do anything here. So massive thank you to the leadership team as well.
Anything from the village idiot over there, or?
Oh.
I mean, he wore the shirt.
Yeah,
I wanted to make Amy feel.
Oh. I was like, geez. I know. Show me pictures. I was like,
No, Mark's out there and he goes, look, I wore this shirt for you so that you know you're the only leader in the room.
So I do have one bucket fill, and that's for the people who showed up here in person today. I would encourage you to think of this differently than you normally would at team meeting. Rather than what can you get from the team meeting, what can you contribute to the team meeting today, even as an idiot. So think about what it is you can contribute as we go through the day today, because we all are valuable to each other and have something to offer.
That's a great point. Yeah, we were just talking about how it feels when the room is full versus when there's, 10, 15 people and or it's, you've got a lot of things. And hopefully these provide value in some way, shape, or form. You take something out of them. And if you don't, there's always a place for feedback in regards to either telling myself, Heather, whoever it is, on what you're looking for in these meetings. Today is a special meeting. Obviously, we do our numbers meeting every second week. So we'll be talking about that and moving forward into kind of business planning season for next year. The next meetings are going to be all kind of revolving around the book shift. So in regards to that of, how is the market going to change and how does your strategies have to change, as well as your mindset. I mean, number one is the mindset that has to change when things happen in a market shift between seller and buyer market. So this is obviously a little bit different meeting, which also is really remarkable because when you look at those numbers up there, I know when I was an agent and my name wasn't up there, I was gunning for putting my name up on that screen, right? And I wanted to make sure that it was never not on that screen. So if there's anything, it's something to look up to the people that are on there, as well as know that they're a resource. If they're having huge numbers each month, or you're seeing their name over and over and over and over again, they're doing something right. It's not just a fluke, onesie choosy time if their name's up there every single month, right? And that gives you the opportunity to go and, maybe outside your comfort zone, but say, hey, I'm such and such. I was just curious, like, how do you do X, Y, Z? What's your script for whatever, right? And that's what the best part of this office is you honestly could go knock on any door and people will help you. And they'll, give you their scripts or they're, maybe not at that moment if they're busy, but they'll set a time aside for you. So great point, Rick. All right, moving on then, we are going to go into our training. So we have tax reduction strategies, which October 1st is around the corner, just in case any of us didn't get it done previously. That's today from 1 to 2. Is that on Zoom?
It's only virtual, yeah.
It's only virtual. Okay, awesome. And then on Thursday, so tomorrow, mega agent interview with our very own Christy Kimbrell. That'll be at the Edina office, or you can also catch that on Zoom. But again, if you're able, going to the Edina Market Center to help support them, just like they do when they come here, is always appreciated, as well as supporting Christy. Then we have our multi-office team meeting. So it flip-flopped this month. Jake will be running that. And that is going to be here during our normal team meeting next week. And then we have listing and buyer presentation in Command, and that is going to be at the Minneapolis Lakes office as well as Zoom on September 22nd. And Rick is going to be a part of that as well. And I think last time you guys saw Rick do his listing presentation, there were a lot of ahas from a lot of people, just kind of seeing how he approaches it. So, and then there's a few other agents too, Katie Bean and David Cole, who are very top listing agents.
Can I say something about the listing?
Yeah.
I've seen Rick's presentation like 3 times, once through Ignite and from other classes, and I always pick something up from it because there's just so much good stuff in there. So
I would say that Rick, and I haven't seen everybody's listing presentations, but out of the people that have presented theirs, he has probably the best listing presentation up with Annalie of just how their approach is, right? Because it's not even how you deliver, it's the approach on making someone feel comfortable. And those two individuals approach it very different than like average agents, right? Not saying anyone else's is bad or good. Those approaches are very unique and they're actually very different from each other. So Annalie did hers last month. And I think Katie Bean, I've never seen David do his, but Katie Bean is very similar, I believe, to Annalie's approach as well. All right. It's you guys. All right. So we have agents in our office that just want to give you a little insight on some new kind of programs that you're doing, correct?
Yep.
So for property management, and so I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay, good. You gave me like 3 minutes.
I did. I think Katie did. So we're just going to look at Katie because she knows I talk too much.
That's fine.
All right, well, good. Thank you. Thanks for at least spending 3 or 4 minutes with us. My name is John Scrivante. I've been in and out of real estate most of my adult life. I started off in college managing tenement apartment buildings. These are the kind that have the bathrooms down the hall. It was a buck. I made it. It wasn't the best experience in my life, but I made a few more mistakes. I bought a fraternity house, managed that. I owned a motel at one time. Wound up converting that into some single-family compounds. I bought and sold commercial real estate, industrial real estate. I've done a lot of stuff. So over those years, I owned a lot of rental properties. And as part of the rental property experience, I never found a property management company that actually focused on generating wealth. It was all about transactions. It was all about problem solving stuff. And all those are very important. But as an owner of the real estate, to me, that was just noise. What I was looking for is somebody to help me build wealth, create wealth, and sustain that over time. So we set out, Corey and I and a few others, our staff is in Hopkins, set out to create this business. And we started about 3 years ago to focus on that mission of helping people create generational wealth and raise the standards in the property management industry, which I think we all know could use a lift. So excellent. So we are a 5-star rated company, and that's really attested to the fact that our focus is on creating wealth. And in order to do that, you have to be tenant-centric. Tenant-centric, making that experience for the tenant a 5-star experience, leads to people taking care of their properties, people paying rents on time, people renewing their leases, those things. If you make the tenant experience a 5-star experience, then your owners will start to see that as well. So our ratings are about 50-50 tenant and owners. We have about $50 million under management, and I purposely talk about our business, not in terms of how many doors we have, because that doesn't have any value to the owner. The value to the owner is if I can take that $500,000 property and turn it into $600,000 property. Okay. Over time, by having better maintenance, better tenants, pushing rents, no vacancies. So we talk about our business in terms of assets under management because that's what our clients are looking for. And today I really wanted to just focus on a new benefits program that we've rolled out. It's been very, very successful, and it really sets us apart from the others and also goes towards the mission that we have of creating generational wealth. You'll also notice that we've had 0 evictions in the last 3.5 years. And we've had 0 missed payments. Again, when we're focusing on those tenants, making sure that the screening process is there and take really good care of those people, they will take care of us. So next, please. So when we set out to price our business, we're different than everybody in the market in that we must align our pricing with the interests of our clients. If you have a flat fee monthly program, what's the incentive for us to drive rents further higher? What's the incentive to keep vacancies to 0? Our turnover vacancies are virtually 0. I mean, I don't know if we have too many that go more than a day or 2. So we priced it really in 3 buckets. The first one, the blue plan, is our base plan. It's $49 plus 3%. $49 covers all the things that most other property managers charge $89 for. The 3% is what aligns us with the owner in terms of we don't get that money if there's a vacancy. And that money doesn't grow if there's not increase in rents. So we align our base plan with the interests as best we can with the client, knowing that there's going to be overhead costs, there's going to be things that we have to do to take care of their property. The red plan is the one that has a few twists to it, and I'm gonna get into that in the next slide. But we're offering 12 months of advance rent. So as a client comes on board and we get a new lease signed, we can accelerate that 12 months. They pay an option fee of essentially 1.5%, which is the difference in the percentage. And there's a 6% discount applied, discount rate. So you get 94% of your rents accelerated to the first day of the rent. That's real money that is non-recourse. You will never have to pay that back. If a tenant fails, skips, doesn't pay, it's non-recourse to the owner. Right? So that gives money now to go buy more properties, gives them money to do renovations, buy a boat, take a vacation, things that, or reinvest, have that money sooner. And then the 12% plan has all those same benefits here, but is a pure alignment between interests. So there are no additional costs for maintenance coordination. There's no additional costs for renewals. It's purely an all-in, everything. We win when you win. If it's vacant, we get 0. If we raise the rents, we get 12% of it. So that's a full alignment of what we're doing and what the client's best interest is. And isn't that really what we're obligated to do anyway? Next, please. So just to summarize, prepaid rent, you pay an option of 1.5% to get it with a 6% discount rate. We offer market on a quarterly basis, market asset level rental evaluation. So we'll give a what the property is worth relative to the markets. Real-time legislation updates. If there's something that's going to take a chip out of your rental business because of legislation or some regulation, we'll be the first ones to let you know about that and then come up with a strategy to address that. And then regardless of whether you accelerate the rent or not, we provide 2 months of lost rent coverage. So the owner, if there was an eviction, again, we've had 0 evictions, but if there was one, or if a tenant skipped or left early, you'll get two months of coverage on that. So next, please. So this is just a quick graphic. We're just accelerating all the money up front on a non-recourse basis, so there's no risk, and then giving you the same level of services. We provide the same level of services as we would even though the rents have already been paid. So, okay. All right. One last thing is that we also offer the tenant a benefit package as well. And the tenant benefit package, I'm not going to go into, it wasn't really the scope for today, but we offer things like $1,000 reimbursement for tenant caused damage. If a tenant breaks a cabinet door or breaks a faucet, we want to know about it right away. And so we provide $1,000 coverage. It doesn't cost the owner anything. That's part of our plan. That encourages them to report these things early. So we're not finding it out later, or they try and fix it themselves and not do it right. So we give them those incentives. We also provide $300 of dog walking services, house cleaning, moving services. We have a concierge service that sets up all their utilities. So we really provide an experience for that tenant so that they're always renewing as well. I see Maddie and Chris kind of nodding their head. You get good feedback on that, don't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing is that you report their on-time rent, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, they do that.
Yeah.
So while they're living there, their credit will
Credit
go
going
up.
up.
Yes, all their on-time rent payments we report. And then they also get coupons and money back for Starbucks and Target and that for every on-time rent payment that they make. So, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So what areas do you service primarily?
We are primarily west of the Mississippi. We're in Cathedral Hill, Groveland Park, kind of St. Paul, kind of that old area up there. And a few random properties. I got 2 in Woodbury because it's a friend, and, but virtually all of our other properties are in the West Metro. So from Brooklyn Park all the way around to down to Shakopee and around Plymouth, Hopkins, Minnetonka, Around the lakes, we got a lot of really high dollar properties on the lakes, $3, $4, $5 million properties that rent for 8,000, 9,000. And then we don't do condominiums. We don't do apartment buildings, townhouses, duplexes, fourplexes, single families. So. I don't know.
That helps, yeah. I got your name because I have these guys that have inherited from their father a portfolio of properties. But some of them are as far out as Spicer and Wilmer.
Yeah.
And then the ones in town are mostly condos, so,
Yeah, it's probably not.
yeah. But that's why I need to know what.
Yeah, condos for us, it's just, kind of, it's tough. And it's just, but townhouses, duplexes, fourplexes, the bulk of our properties are single-family homes, and then the next class is townhouses. Got the hook. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Any other questions?
And by the way,
Showing agents.
yeah, so we're looking for showing agents, so that's my altar call for anybody who's interested. We've got a really slick system that schedules, it's really easy to use. We also provide a fair amount of referrals. One of my greatest beneficiaries of referrals is sitting in the back there.
John is amazing and his whole team. We've been in business for about 10 years. First 7 years, we always have investor, clients who are looking for somebody to manage the properties. And literally every single one, we went through so many different companies, and we'd always get calls from our clients that are like, hey, I can't believe this happened with this property manager. We met John about 3 years ago, and we have never received any phone call except for the complete opposite about how amazing he is. Really hats off to you guys, and your communication, your service is insane. It's amazing. Wouldn't trust anybody else except for them. So.
Well, it's not just me, because the front lines are these two plus Corey and Bridget in my office and Anthony, our maintenance guys. It's really just, we created an environment to where we can really kill the mission. And when you focus on the mission, the rest of it flows. So, thank you.
Thanks, John. All right, now it's numbers time. So like always, when we're doing numbers, some people are going to be up here for the first time. Some people are going to have records that they broke, and everyone should be getting clapped for. Like I say, if we're not clapping, I'm going to go get the clappers, and the only people that like those are right here. In this line, right here. We are sitting in this direct line. The three of us like the clappers.
To be fair, they're not bad. She's just really obnoxious.
I am too, because we like him so much. So, congratulations to Jacob for his first closing. Going through all of the August numbers, we have a few cappers here. We have Rick Barama. How long did it take you to cap?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Wait, how long did it take you to cap?
2 weeks.
Hi.
Get 100%.
Yeah, me, that'd be great. And then we have Matt Strobel. I don't see anyone here. And then I have another person that I'm not sure if we had mentioned her previously or not, but we have Della Johnson. I think on her spot, and Matt, it'll be in your office if you are on as well. All right, next. Okay, so top individuals, listings taken. We have Tam at 2. We have Angie. Number 1 month though for individuals, just taking that many taking listings, quite honestly, which is really, really cool. Especially as we're going into a different market, listings are going to be really important, and as an individual versus some of the teams is great. Listings taken volume, we have Angie at 520,000. top individuals for closed volume, we have Scott Nagel at 2.1. Volume on that is over $1 million. I think this is also a new month for that, where everyone has had that amount of sales in a month. That's huge. Nice job. And Scott was in here. 2.1. What? All right. So closed GCI, we have Scott in the #1 spot. Jordan. Was actually gone for 2 weeks. Like cowboying.
Yeah, he's always gone. I don't know how he does that.
Like, he was like literally somewhere riding horses, getting cows
Yeah.
to like.
He had a Starlink, Montana solar power doing.
Oh, he was in Wyoming.
Wyoming, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like literally herding cattle.
Jordan, are you on? Do you want to tell us all the stories? Okay, we'll go on with numbers. Okay, so top teams, listings taken. We have Steinbach home selling team. Volume, we have Steinbach home selling team. All right, closed volume for August. We have KW Commercial Envision with 7.5. About 7.5 just in August. That was that
was Royce.
That was the one transaction,
Yeah,
right? Like,
pretty, yeah.
he had been working on this transaction for years. Like,
Yeah.
it was like not the actual transaction, but getting this lead to this point. And it was a huge transaction. So congratulations.
His biggest one.
KW Commercial Envision would close GCI in the one spot. All right, so top groups, listings taken, Bethany Nelson Real Estate Group with 5, Homer's Group with 5. Bethany's group. I wish they were on, Bethany. Serempa team with 4, Brahma Real Estate Group. Homer's is at 6.4. All right, closed volume. We've got Brahma Real Estate Group with 8 million. It just doesn't make sense. Nice job. Is that your #1 month
Oh, yeah.
in business?
Yeah.
Nice work.
By far.
Nice work. Congratulations. We've got the Serempa team at 5.5, Homer Group at 5.2, Bethany Real.
Big
We're
numbers. I know.
Those are amazing. Those are huge numbers.
They are.
All right, closed GCI, we have the Brown Real Estate Group in the #1 spot. Those numbers make me really happy, you guys.
Right.
Like really happy. Are you guys happy?
Like 27
When
million.
I have bucket fills next time and you guys are like, nothing great is happening, either you're exhausted or you're lying, because those numbers are amazing. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit. Last week we did numbers kind of across the board of like economics. And I kind of want to talk about that with our numbers, right? These are more local and our actual market center. When we did the broad spectrum of numbers nationally last week, it was kind of talking about interest rates and how that's ebbing and flowing with what's going to be closing this year. So these numbers are up here not just to see, but I want a discussion of what you see coming in the market what has been happening in the market and what you guys are actually feeling and seeing right now. Is that fair? Because I can kind of read off these numbers and you can, you know, blindly look at them and be like, okay, cool. But the real point of going over this is to have a discussion on how we're prepping as we're going into October, November, December, and 2023. Fair? Cool. All right, so closed units, we are down by 20% compared to the MLS, which is down by 10%, and our area is down by 13. However, when you look at closed volume, we're down by 9%. MLS is down by 2%, and our area is down by 6%. Are you feeling that? Because we just had huge numbers, right? I mean, those are pretty big numbers, and yet our units are still down.
I feel like for myself, it was kind of a little more of a slower start.
Okay.
And now it's starting like this last quarter of the year will be my busiest year.
Okay.
Busiest time of the year. So I don't know.
Okay. Do you feel like there's a change in buyers or sellers, like in their, like why? Like the mindset of them?
Yeah, I think it's the mindset. I mean, I was working with my clients and they wanted to sell their home and purchase a home, whatever. So
Yeah.
we got both of their houses under contract in 6 days.
Okay.
So I think it's all about mindset. That they just really wanted to buy a home and they
Okay.
really wanted to sell their home. So we just did it really fast.
Okay. And it wasn't like a 24-hour, like 6 days seems like a long time now for people to be able to make a decision. Like, I know that seems like a short period, but it was legitimately like 24 hours in the market earlier this year. Like, you need to decide, you need to put an offer on, we are moving, right?
The first home I showed them is the house that we got under contract. And then their house was only on the market for like technically 16 hours.
Okay.
So
Okay.
before we signed a contract, they did it.
Okay. Anyone else in regards to units and volume? What are you feeling and what are you actually seeing in your own numbers, right? Because this is market center wide, right? So we've got people that are producing, people that aren't producing, you know, people that just kind of have it for referral. So obviously these numbers are different, but like you specifically, how do you feel like yours compare to these? Rick.
So independent of my team, the first 7 months I did 7 million, and in August I did 7 million. So it is, you know, changing, and the reason being what I am seeing and what I've seen with these clients, we have a huge month in September as well. Both Sherry and I do. Is the confidence in the market and the confidence in buying and selling is significantly higher than it was for the past 6 months. Basically, we're maybe 5 months after the mad rush ended, like end of February, beginning of March. Right, so that's that style of real estate and that category and that, you know, what we were doing then it's over. You know, and someday may come back again. Whoever, you know, we don't know. But that's over. And then there was a lot of uncertainty for a period of months with everything shifting and with the interest rates and people just being uncertain. Things now have seemed to balance a little bit, and the agents who've been around for a while have felt this before, where right now it seems as though we're in what we would consider more of a fair market. There's less buyers for each house. The houses are going under contract with inspections. They're going under contract really close to the list price, and in a lot of cases now actually under the list price. Sellers are willing to sell under a list price after it's been on the market for a week or more. Buyers are more confident purchasing because they're not in, again, a mad rush to buy above the market or in their perception above the market when there's 7 offers they're competing against. So it's just as, I think it's time that people need to take advantage of the opportunity of the confidence that exists in the buyers and sellers at the moment.
Well, and we're going to get into this too when we start talking about shift. Who's read shift before? Or is reading it right now? If not, come see me because we have a few of those books, or even do it on audio. I like the book because it actually shows a few different things in there. But when you talk about a balanced market, right, it's essentially a transition time. And that balanced market doesn't last as long as a seller's or a buyer's market, right? It's a time period where it's switching between one or the other. Okay, so when you're talking about markets, and someone's like, oh, it's finally a balanced market. By the time you see it's a balanced market, you've only got so much time most likely before it switches one way or another. It doesn't stay in that as long as it stays in the other two normally, right? So when you're speaking to your clients right now and you're saying things like balanced market, what's the first thing well, when do you think it's going to be a buyer's market? When do you think it's going to be a seller's market? And being able to say that it's a transition time and you don't know how long that's going to be is some way to be able to allow them to make their own decisions on that piece. Like you wait longer, maybe it's a buyer's market, but if you have to sell, you might be at a disadvantage, right?
When sellers have seen all of the houses around them and in the neighborhoods go for very high prices in the last 2 years, they're not stupid. They know that we're at what they're considering the top of the market. That's massive incentive to sell now versus next spring.
Yep.
You know, I mean, if we know that we're at the height of the market and most people are thinking that it's probably not going to keep going up,
Yep.
then why don't we sell right now versus waiting until next spring?
Well, and just like the slide deck that we sent out, Katie sent out last week, using that information to help inform these buyers and sellers is your job right now. Like that is your number one job, is to inform them of why this is a good time, bad time, whatever it is, right? Whatever way you interpret those, which I hope that you interpret them correctly. But that's your job, to inform them of that. It's not just to show houses. It's not just to, sign them up. You have to educate them. That's what they're leaning on you for, right? Like that's what's going to allow those that are really good at what they do to survive a shifting market from those that are just there to sell someone something. Bethany, you had your hand up.
A balanced market is 6 months inventory. So I would argue, I agree with what you're saying, but we're not balanced. So when you're having those conversations with your clients, I completely agree with you. I think right now there's a lot of people where, and when
It feels more balanced than what it was in their mind, right? Like it's like it feels more balanced.
I mean, even like frankly, the quality of life of a real estate agent,
Being a lot more
balanced. Get in the house in 30 minutes and have an offer and your firstborn child up for grabs in an hour. So, but I think interpreting the data though, you need to have enough information that it's data. And it's an old script, but one of my favorite scripts is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller or Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I don't make the market, I just interpret it for you. And here's what the market is saying. We are seeing price adjustments. Our team's talking about how with our sellers right now, you need to be looking at comps pre-July, post-July, because pre-July and the interest rate hikes, those are very different numbers than when the interest rate hike happened. So even looking at those comparables, they might say, well, my seller sold for X down the road back in May. Well, yeah, do you know what the market looked like in May compared to what it looks like now?
Well, and explaining buying power at that moment, right? Like with interest rates going up, that same buyer is now only able to purchase X versus they were able to purchase this, right? So being able to interpret those numbers is key. And I was actually just talking to the leadership team. How many of us took economics like 101 at some point in our life? How many of you remember anything from it? And I say this, and this is not a dig, but when I was going through those numbers last week and trying to explain economy and how it affects real estate, if you were up here, everyone was like this, right? And I was like, would it be helpful to go through like economics on that piece of it and actually how it affects the housing industry, right? Like whether or not it's a book club of some sort of economic book, and how that plays in, because that's really, really important in real estate, like really important in real estate. Is that fair? Like 17% of like the exchange of the economy in the United States is real estate. 17%. And I actually think that that's low compared to what you would think it is, because everyone needs space. You either need a space to live, you need a place to put your shop in, you need real estate is kind of everything that has to do with the economy, right? Like, and if you don't understand how that works, it's going to be really difficult to explain the numbers that we went through last week in an informed way, right? So if and when we put something like that together, can I see a show of hands who's going to show up for that? Okay, all right, because then I'm gonna look into it, and if all of a sudden that happens and there's 2 people, this is recorded. And I saw all of the hands that just went up, and if you don't show up, come into your house, okay? And I want you to be able to tell me that, though. If you're like, hey, I don't get that, that's what I'm here for, is to help educate that piece of it, right? And find ways that you can interpret that data for people. Is that fair? Okay. All right, so listings taken.
Amy, one other thing really quick is this is a really prime opportunity for you to share the gift of Keller Williams. Because there are a lot, I received 2 phone calls last week from agents at 100% companies that are in a lot of pain right now. And the tide is going out, and everyone that was surviving based on just the market being great over the last couple of years, they're left standing naked, and they're very exposed. And so meetings like this are not happening at a lot of other companies. And so just want to encourage you, like, there's opportunity to one, grow your profit share tree, but really at the end of the day, help your fellow agents. I've heard lots of stats on how 30% of the agent population will be out of the business in the next 2 years. Then they're anticipating another 60%, the additional 30% after that. And so those are some big numbers to think about our population cutting down. Now, is it probably needed? Sure. That's like opportunity for everyone in this room. But those conversations, more and more people are open to having them right now.
Well, and it allows you, I mean, I've asked a few of you agents, like, who do you like working with, right? And who would benefit from having these kinds of conversations versus whatever they're having, or maybe not any, right? Because I don't care what production level you're at, you are going to feel this market in some way, right? Because you're going to feel it because you're shifting strategies. So it's going to change the way you're doing things, or you're going to feel it because you're like, ooh, business dipped, right? Or you might feel it because whatever you were doing to lead up to it, you now took market share. So no one is going to go through any changes in a market by not feeling it. Because some way, shape, or form, something is going to change, whether you like it or not in your business. Right.
I want to support that and back that up. We have like minds. That's pretty cool. I'm learning this about that.
I know you guys, it's kind of fun to watch this.
Well, what I think, when I first came here, I had interviewed at all of the companies. I mean, I originally, my wife had started a RE/MAX 20 something years ago. So I had went to all the different companies, and there's 2 main reasons I came here. One is because of the culture of God family business. So that was kind of number 1 for me. And number 2, though, was very, very simple, but it is the key to success in this business. Now, Keller Williams is dynamic. Keller Williams changes constantly at all times, never sits still, is always moving forward, not promoting Keller. But if you had been at Mega Camp, which was amazing, there was no promotion of Keller at Mega Camp, which was crazy. There's no, we weren't drinking any red Kool-Aid or anything except for when we were at the pool ourselves. But here we are in a position where we've got a company that you go to Mega Camp and all they're talking about is interpreting the market right now and adapting and adjusting your business for the market right now. And then in the spring, do that again. And then next summer, do the same thing. Pay attention, come to the meetings, understand what the market is doing, change with the market, and you will be successful with every single market condition that we are faced with. Stay in the business and stay dynamic like Keller Williams.
I just think you put that out there.
That was awesome.
And I did get Village Idiot. It was a nice little pun to the whole thing. No, and I think that that's fair, right? Because I mean, we talked about, I was with the PC group this morning, and I can say whatever, right? You can say whatever about you as an agent, but who really backs you up are your clients, right? And you guys, if I had to put it into a scheme, you're my clients. And you talking about Keller is a lot more effective than me talking about Keller. Because just like any agent, I call up and they're like, I'm not interested. Are you recruiting me? Right? And it's funny because agents kind of are like, oh, gross, don't sell me on this. And I want to be like, when's the last time you called someone and asked if they want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I bet it was today. Right? And like, so it's interesting, right? The dynamic that agents are like, don't recruit me. And I was like, well, you call people all the time to ask them if they're gonna sell. It's like the same thing, but.
Do they?
Well, that's true. They might not. That's true. They might not. But it's a different dynamic. And when you share your stories or you're sharing why you're here or what conversations you're having, it is a lot more impactful to everybody, right? Because you're experiencing it and feeling it and you're seeing it in your life, you're seeing it in your, finances, you're seeing it in your family. So, Wendy.
I heard recently that Gary's mastermind right now of his top whatever agents, the majority of those agents in that group got into the business in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
When the market was really tanking. And I just want to encourage the agents that are in your productivity coaching that are getting into the market now that they could be Gary's future mastermind, that they can still thrive and build a strong business in this market. And people like Bethany and Rick and Colleen and all the other agents here that have been through long markets are going to continue to support them, help them build strong businesses. This isn't a scary time.
All of those same people are super excited about what's happening because they're going to watch all the people that didn't go through that and not shift their strategy, and they're going to take your business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but they are going to come for you because they are so prepared for it. And they're like, been there, done this. Like, here we go again. And they are like ready. They are absolutely ready to take it on for the next 5 years, and they will capitalize. Which is awesome, but you can capitalize too.
I just told my business network this morning, I meet with a group of 40 people every Wednesday morning. And I said, I would like an introduction this week to the people you know who don't need a real estate order taker, but somebody who is a skilled real estate agent who knows how to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. I want an introduction to somebody who needs a skilled person. And they were all like, oh, because it's different. Because there are a lot of people who are.
Like, I know 10 agents. Like,
Yeah.
my brother's one, my neighbor, the guy that bags my groceries. Like,
Because
they
in
know a ton
April,
of
you
them.
could say, we went on listing appointments and people were like, I would like 450. And you'd be like, let's do 5. And they were like, yes, take my listing. And now it's like, let's sit down and actually figure out what your house is going to sell for.
Yep.
And let's price it accordingly. And that's different.
I think it's actually really exciting, personally. I also am a very competitive human being. But this is the time where, like, those that actually have a skill set and want it are going to make it happen. And that should feel really exciting for people. Like, it shouldn't actually feel scary. Like, if you feel scary, it's probably because you don't know what to do. And if that's the case, like, shoot me an email and be like, hey, I'm scared. Awesome. Let's figure out a plan. Let's figure out a strategy for it because this shouldn't be scary.
You know, every morning there's the free pivot shift call, and it's top agents from across the country that every morning share what they're currently doing right now. It is.
And it's
recorded
and you can watch it after.
You can watch it on the Facebook or you can be live on Zoom. I get on at 6:30. There's what they call the pre-show, and then at 7 they go live, and it's just amazing content that they are sharing every day, and all their resources and all their tools, and you can, and it's available there.
Yeah.
Well, and when you think of when people are scared or you have a fear of something, why are you scared? You don't understand it. You don't understand it. You don't know enough about it. So the fears of the unknown pieces of it, right? Okay, think about it. Did you actually know what February was going to look like? No. Were you scared then? No. Because you felt like you had the knowledge that you needed. So again, here comes everybody up on whatever media source, like, oh, the market's going to fall and, London Bridge is crashing and all this stuff. And as an agent that feels the tug, you're now just feeding into that, right? You're like, oh, I should probably look for a job. Well, you have a job. Your job is to lead generate and sell houses. Like, that is your job. You have a job. If I hear the words, I need to go find a job, I'm going to be like, oh, hey, go look in the mirror. There it is. Right? Like, you have a job. Do we all have a job? Yeah. What's our job?
Lead generate and sell houses.
Okay. Say it again. All right. Listings taken. We're down by 21%. MLS -7. Area is 8. Listing volume 10%. And MLS is actually up 2.7, and so is the area. So this is interesting because as an office, we are way down on listings right now. So talk to me about that. I know there's some different sources of listings that have kind of hit the office, just a large listing teams. But talk to me about that piece. How the agents that are taking listings, do you feel like you're taking more, less? Are you going on a lot of appointments but losing them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
We did 5 in August, and honestly, we should have taken more.
Okay. And you went on more appointments, or you just?
No, I'm not lead generating for them. Like, just to be really, really frank, right now, I mean, my wheels are spinning. But I also think, just to add on to what we were talking about with the market, I'm about to ask for another price reduction from a seller of mine. And everyone should know this stat. The National Association of Realtors says that your home should appreciate on average about 4% a year. If you don't have a compound interest calculator on your phone, you should. Because you should look at what did they buy the house for, compound interest that for the time they've owned the home at 4%. I promise you, whatever number you're looking at right now is better than that. So when you can explain to them, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you took advantage of the 17% increase that you received last year, but unfortunately the market has tapered back a little bit. So now you're only looking at 14% increase. That's a lot less painful. And than saying, like, yeah, so sorry. Than saying,
I see, she agrees.
That was like perfect timing. So anyway, I think just knowing those, and we're working on a couple other listings right now where we're just working with our sellers and pricing them more aggressively. I am in multiples on a buy side right now. I think single family living is going, I don't think that will be as single level living, I'm sorry. I don't think that will be as effective. At least not what I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, I think people still want to sell. They just don't know. They don't know, like, is it the right time? Is it not? Is this mean that the buyers aren't, like, they don't know, right? And if we aren't telling them on every source that we could potentially tell them, Instagram, maybe, yeah. You know, they're going to feed off whatever other information they're getting from other people.
Well, we just heard about a really great property management company. They don't have to sell. Keep your house, go buy your next one.
It eliminates a permanent decision.
Totally.
Because they can always sell later.
Totally. Help them build wealth.
Awesome. So listings sold, going into that, we're down by 27. I mean, they're pretty consistent on that piece, right? So what we're taking and what we're selling, down by 27, MLS is down by 10, area is down by 13, listings sold volume is down by 16%, MLS is down by 2, and the area is down by 6. Always, 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 contracts written are is the number that scares me as we keep moving forward, right? So contracts written right now, we are down by 28%. So when we go up next month to closed units, we are most likely going to be close to 28%, right? So this is how we look at these numbers, and we're going to foreshadow what our conversation is going to be next month, right? So what can we do to make sure our contracts written is not in a negative? Lead gen, or how do we get some people off the fence, right? Like, how do we get them enough knowledge for them to make a decision to get off the fence to buy or sell, right? Because I think we have some pipeline there, right? But that number, I would like to not see in the negative in the next few months. Anyone else agree with that? I mean, I'd like a really nice holiday for all of you in case, you want to do anything fun. MLS is down 11% and the area is down 13%. Contracts written volume, that's probably the closest, actually. It's down by 20%. MLS is down 3% and area is down 5% in regards to units versus volume as our contracts written. So what's that also telling you? I mean, volume was kind of outpacing by quite a bit. So there's some correction in the actual volume piece, which I think for a lot of us we were on this like nice ride of like, I might only need to sell 10 houses, but man, my volume's up about 350%. Right? And that affects your GCI because we get paid on volume, not units. So what's that say for our business planning of 2023? What's going to have to change?
You have to focus on volume.
What have we been talking about for like 8 months? What? Units. I know nobody likes watching the unit piece because they're like, oh yeah, but I just sold, 10 million. I don't care actually about that piece if we don't keep the units up because that 10 million could be 5 in a hot instant, depending on where the market goes. That can shift dramatically. You don't get to actually control that. What did we just say? I don't control the market, I interpret it. Well, guess what? You don't control volume because that's the market. What you can control is units because you can control your contacts, your appointments, and then every listing and buyer you take. You can control that. Agreed? Yes. Okay, moving on. All right, so compared to last year, so closed units, we are at 96. Last year we were at 108. Closed volume, like perfect example. This year we're at 56.6. Last year we sold more units, but we were at 47 million. Okay, that's a pretty high jump for less units and a higher volume. So you guys are definitely reaping the benefits of that. And I want you to be really, really prepared when that volume changes. All right, listings taken, we had 42 this month compared to 52 last month. Listings taken volume, we took 21, and last year we took 22. That's a little bit closer, right? However, we're still 10 units apart from last year. Listings sold, 35. Last year we had 43. Listings sold volume, we're at 17 this year, and last year we were at 20. Contracts written, we are at 99 this month or this year, and we were at 111 last year. Contracts written volume, again, we're outpacing last year at 57.4. So you're still going to have the GCI from that, but last year we were at 47.3 million. Closed GCI for this year, we were at 1.4, and last year we were at 1.2. So if you were to look at that, right, in 96 closed units, we had a closed GCI of 1.4 this year. So what, 12 more units last year, and we actually had less GCI. So we've been riding that wave of like, this GCI thing is really cool. Volume's awesome, right? But just be prepared. This year we have 9,295 for profit share, and last year we had 12,564. You guys, this number makes me so happy. You want to know why? Because last year we had a very different cap. And this year we're almost caught up to that when we had 3 months of no profit, right? We talk about business, we talk about how things work. Well, the market center is obviously a business as well. And we were unable to share any profit for the first 3 months. 3 months this year. And we are finally getting back to where we can share profit again with you guys, which is important to us. So that's a really cool number. Even though we're behind, we're catching up. And we're going to outpace that, which is going to be even better. Because it's a win-win for you both ways. You have a lower cap and you're getting profit share again. Cool? Any questions? All right, let's go to one.